Report of the computer.
Sick?
Okay, hitting record.
What's wrong with you?
We are live on Facebook. Mr. Vikram Deol, how you doing, my friend? Really excited to chat today with everyone around seven-figure real estate leads and conversion. We're going to share this live training inside of our Facebook group. And as we get going, let me do that. Vikram, why don't you give us a high-level overview on what you're going to chat about today and why this is so amazing?
Do we want to let people in? Sure, in the waiting room?
Yeah, I'm going to let people in.
Okay.
We're already live. Just give you a heads
All
up.
right. We are live, so I should swear a lot more. Is that what
Yeah,
you're
you
saying?
can. We are 110% live on Facebook.
What's up, Facebook? So I'm going to teach you guys about why are people ghosting you in this world that we live in. There's a lot of realtors get ghosted and they don't know why. In fact, a lot of salespeople get ghosted and they don't know why. And it's because they don't understand their tonality. They don't understand how to use pauses and verbal cues, and they don't really understand how the sequencing of questions triggers buyers or sellers resistance. And so we're going to talk about that. And then at the end, we won't have time to go over the scripts, but I'm going to gift to those that are here the 3 best reactivation frameworks that you can use for prospects who just, tough to get prospects. And we're going to jam with that.
Yeah, so if you're live with us on Facebook, throw conversion in the comment section below, and we will get you access to those scripts that are currently actively working in the market today. So I'm going to be covering seven-figure real estate leads, what it means to create profitable ads for your business. So we're going to spend the first half of today's conversation around seven-figure real estate leads, and the second half of our conversation is going to be focused with Vikram around seven-figure conversion, how you actually get more deals under contract, how you get more appointments, scripting, all that good stuff, how to reactivate people. So without further ado, I think it's about time we hop into it. I can see there's a couple people in the waiting room. We're going to let in,
Cody,
and we are going to rock and roll here. Okay.
And all I want to do is just bug you throughout the entire presentation and distract you.
Okay. Well, I will mute you. So I will remove your spotlight for now, and I will click mute. So
let's roll, baby.
If you're in here with us on the chat, if you're in Zoom, you can throw any questions you have in the chat below. We got nothing to sell you. We just want to provide a massive amount of value. There will be a survey at the end of the section. So if you're listening inside of our Facebook group, we'll throw the survey there. If you're watching live on Facebook, if you're in here with us in Zoom, we will ask you to fill a quick survey at the end of the session. And
if you guys are live with us, if you guys could, turn on your cameras. Cody took a shower. I took a shower. I mean, I even put on a clean white shirt. So if you guys could do us a favor and throw on your cameras, we'd super appreciate it. Oh, look at that. Fiona and Kim. We love you guys.
Awesome.
All right, Cody, I'll shut up now.
Okay. I'm going to remove your spotlight, and we're going to dive into something I call the profitable ads framework. So like I said, if you're on the Facebook group live with us, I want to say thank you. If you hopped in today with us, we are going to cover seven-figure real estate leads and then seven-figure conversion. A little bit about me. I run a company called Sheridan Street. Sheridan Street, we manage millions of dollars in ad spend, launched over 50,000 campaigns. There's really 3 paid ads that every real estate agent must run. Today, I want to really walk you through 4 things that you need to consider called the profitable ads framework in order to create ads that convert. So what I would encourage you to do is everyone that is here is going to get a copy of this recording. If you have a marketing person and you're listening on Facebook, you're here live with us, hand them this training, because this training is going to give them a ton of insight and information into how to actually create ads that convert. And there's 4 key things that I want everyone to consider prior to running ads for your real estate business. It's something that we've worked with. We worked with a lot of different businesses over the last 5 years, 5-6 years, and these are 4 fundamental things towards advertising. And you could take these concepts And if you're doing radio ads, you're doing TV ads, you're doing print ads, you really want to take these concepts and you really want to drive them home in every aspect of your marketing. So let's hop into it. So the first thing, in order to create profitable ads, one of the mistakes that I see a lot of real estate agents, a lot of business owners make around profitable ads is they don't have the right messaging. So what is messaging? Messaging is psychographics and demographics. It's understanding on a really deep level, who am I trying to reach? What am I like? What is the message that I want to get in front of them? Have I done the correct research in regards to getting in front of the right audience? So when I say get in front of the right audience, what I mean by that is like, are we targeting newlyweds? Because the way I speak to newlyweds is going to be different than the way I speak to somebody who's downsizing. Or say, for example, I want to target business owners that want waterfront property. The way that I speak to business owners that want waterfront property is different than the way that I speak to newlyweds. They're at a different stage in their life. And now the issue that so many people have with marketing is they try to speak to absolutely everyone, and then they end up speaking to no one. So whenever we think about profitable ads from a granular level, what we want to do is we want to think about who is our avatar, who is our niche in our entire marketing plan. It doesn't mean that we're not going to work with the downsizer. It doesn't mean that we're not going to work with the business owner. It just means that in our concerted efforts towards getting in front of the right people, our focus is, how do I get the right message in front of the business owner? How do I get the right message in front of the family that wants a waterfront property in the Kawarthas? The messaging I speak to those people in the way and their pain points and the things that keep them up at night is totally different than somebody that is looking to move to the GTA, or somebody looking to move to California, somebody looking to move to Florida. They all have different needs. So to understand your demographic and the psychographics of your target audience is so important to creating profitable ads. So what do I mean by this? What do I mean by messaging? Your messaging is the words you say, and it's how you say it. It's how you present the offer, how you present what you're trying to present to the target audience. So your messaging is the words you say and how you say it. So here are some ways that we've taught our clients over the past couple of years on how they can effectively reach their target audience doing research. So these are the questions that I would encourage you to ask yourself if you want to go after a targeted niche. What products has your avatar bought online? So if you're going after newlyweds and you want to run ads to newlyweds, what products have they bought online before? Who did they buy the product from? Have you funnel hacked other funnels, thought leaders that they're buying from? What does the sales process and the website look like? What are the things that they're buying? Because the better that I can get into the head of the person I'm trying to target, the more I'm going to be able to get the right words and the right video in front of them. Whose content are they consuming? What identity do they potentially have? Are they a newbie? Are they struggling? And this is super important for buyer. Like if you ever decide to do buyer seminars or buyer webinars, creating a webinar or creating an online seminar for somebody that's downsizing, for example, it's going to be different than somebody that's looking to sell their home. It's going to be different than somebody, a first-time home buyer. Like what type of information are you trying to get in front of the ideal audience? Who's the category king in the specific niche? Is there somebody in your local market that is really crushing waterfront? What are they doing? Maybe you can go one layer deeper. Maybe they target waterfront. Maybe you go business owners that are looking for waterfront. Totally different niche. What is your avatar like about the specific category king? And you know, these are just examples of questions that you can ask yourself in order to get really crystal clear on these are the types of people I'm looking to reach. And what I mean by that is like you can still run a general offer ad in order to reach like first-time buyers, downsizers, people that are moving out, like relocation ads. But if you don't know the type of person you're trying to reach, the actual demographics, psychographics, the marketing will fall short because you don't understand deeply enough about who you're trying to reach. So a really great book, if you're hiring if you ever hire a marketing person for your business, something kind of the test that I always give everybody that kind of like is looking to hire a marketing person is, do they know Eugene Schwartz? If they don't know Eugene Schwartz and they've never heard that name, they don't know how to write copy. And copy is one of the most important elements towards running a business. Copy is embedded in our emails. Copy is embedded in our social media posts. Copy is embedded. A good marketing person will know who Eugene Schwartz is. Eugene Schwartz wrote a book called Breakthrough Advertising. It's one of he's a world-renowned marketer prior to digital marketing being digital, being a thing. He is the godfather of what we call copywriting. And he says that copy is not written, copy is assembled. You do not write copy, you assemble it. You're working with a series of building blocks. You're putting the building blocks together, and then you're putting them into certain structures. You're building a little city of desire for the person to come and live in. What does he mean by that? Is he's building this world of desire that the actual end consumer is looking to live in, because he understands his target audience in such a way that he's able to craft words in order to get people to take action. That's essentially what he's saying in this specific quote. If there's one book you read, if you want to become a better marketer, it's called Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. I highly, highly recommend that book. Take a sip of water really quick here, and we're going to keep going. The second thing you need to consider in order to create profitable ads is what we call targeting. So it's really difficult to have good targeting if you don't have good messaging, because you can have all the targeting that's right in the world, but if your message sucks, it doesn't matter. The targeting won't work. But especially now in the real estate space, what we're finding more and more, there are still ways to target specific demographics and psychographics, but generally our messaging needs to be on point. But there are ways to target people that are ideal clients. So say, for example, we use a terminology we call rapid fire testing. And essentially what rapid fire testing is in the targeting side of profitable ads is testing a series of headlines, copy, images, video to essentially allow Facebook or allow YouTube or allow TikTok to tell us what is working and what isn't working. The idea that there's a perfect piece of creative or a perfect piece of content just doesn't exist. The market is the market, and we test a bunch of different series of images, creative headlines in order to figure out what is actually going to resonate with the end consumer. The most important campaign objective. So when you're running ads, in my opinion, when it comes to online ads in a real estate based space, because the buying cycle is so long in real estate, the campaign objective on any platform that I recommend any agent, any real estate team lead optimize for is lead gen. You need no more names, email addresses, and phone numbers. That's just we have a fundamental belief at Sheridan Street, and I know that Vikram shares this ethos as well, and I know that our mentor Sharon shares this as well. That all conversion happens in conversation, but it's extremely hard to have conversations with your ads if you're clicking the boost a post button and you're praying to the marketing gods to deliver you leads. It doesn't work that way. So when you are thinking about targeting, I would encourage you to think about your campaign objective inside of any ad platform. Is how do I generate leads? And generally, when you log into any platform, there is a built-in lead form that you can use in order to generate leads. So if you're just starting out in your real estate business, please, if you're listening back to the replay, if you're on Facebook Live with us, my encouragement and my hope is that you don't click that boost a post button and you actually go into the back end of Ads Manager and you run a lead gen based ad so you can build your database, because the fundamental belief is the biggest database wins. Now, obviously you have to nurture the database, but when it comes from ads perspective, we need to make sure our campaigns are actually generating interest, and they're generating names, email addresses, phone numbers, or they're generating messenger. Another really great objective that we have been testing is messenger campaigns, where they actually direct message you. So those would be the two campaign objectives that I would recommend for any real estate agent to be running in a 2023 environment. The third element towards profitable ads around targeting is cold and warm audiences. So it's a mixture of top of funnel audiences, but warm audiences. So what I mean by a warm audience is actually you can upload your email database to the platform and run ads to the platform run ads to that database. You can target people that land on your website. You can actually purchase verified homeowner data. So we have a partnership with an insurance agency where we can actually purchase verified homeowner data of people that make more than $100,000 net income. And what we do is we take that data, we upload it to Facebook or TikTok, or whatever platform, and we can run targeted ads to that actual data. So there's tons of different ways that we can get in front of the right audience. But generally, we have to get really clear on who we're trying to reach in order to do that. If we're running what we call cold audiences, meaning like we're running interest-based audiences. Now because Facebook and Google, they're all cracking down on what we call special ad categories. So we have less targeting objectives, and we have to get a little bit more creative in order to get in front of the right people. So that's why the offer, which is the next thing, is so important. So what you're targeting, are you speaking to the right audience? Rapid fire testing, like I said, with the purchase list, I mentioned that. The cold audience is targeting people that have engaged with your page. So that's another thing. If you're doing a lot of posting on Instagram, you can actually target people that have engaged with your Instagram page. It's another great way in order to get it in front of the right people. The third thing towards profitable ads is what we call the offer. I have a fundamental belief that there's no amount of marketing and there's no amount of eyeballs that can fix a shitty offer. There just isn't. Like, if your offer is everyone else's offer, it's just not like, it's not going to work. Like, you're not differentiating yourself in the marketplace. So we've been working on a partnership with a company called Revive. A lot of our US based clients are working with them, and the offer that they essentially are providing is $0 down on all renovations, pay on closing. That is an irresistible offer. That is something different than everyone else is doing in the marketplace. Or first month mortgage payment on us. That's different. That separates you from the marketplace. The reason why a lot of new construction campaigns are working in the marketplace right now is because they have credits and they have rebates attached to the offer, so it gets people to raise their hand. But if you could attach what we call an irresistible offer to a specific niche, so maybe it is, we cover all of your closing costs for newlyweds. That's a really good offer to a specific niche. So the more that we can get clear, and the more that we can be like, people can raise their hand because they can identify with the words and with the content you put in front of them. The more they can say, that's me, the better results you're going to have. The whole idea of marketing is to get the person on the other end of the camera, or the other end of the screen rather, to say, yes, that's me. I relate to what this person is saying. And that could be a unique selling proposition you have. That could be a guarantee you offer. It could be your track record. But coming up with some sort of irresistible offer that the benefit of them moving forward outweighs the risk of them giving you their information. Like, if you really want to tie a buyer down, offer them the first month mortgage payment. Like, and every I understand every area is different. Not everyone has the ability to go that steep, but coming up with some sort of thing that separates you in the marketplace, and not just saying, I can help you sell and buy I can help you sell your home, or I can help you buy a home. It's not an offer. It's just not there's no unique selling proposition there. Coming up with some sort of unique selling proposition will help you, especially if you don't have a large brand. There's two different things. You're either Ryan Serhant, who has a really large brand, who still to this day runs offers in his own way. You're either Ryan Serhant with a really large brand, or you don't have a really large brand, and you have to combat that with some sort of direct response marketing offer that gets people to know, like, and trust you. And you do that through a unique selling proposition. So your offer, the best offers we see whenever we run ads, you choose one person, you choose one problem to solve, and you have one unique offer that you put in front of them. So, first month mortgage on us for all newlyweds. That's an example of a really great offer. The last thing I want to cover in the profitable ads framework before handing it over to Vikram, in order to go through some scripts and some things that are working right now in the marketplace, is creative. So this goes for your organic posting, for your, this will go for your, especially for your ads. There's 3 things I want you to consider, and 3 things I would encourage you to give to your marketing person. Is the first is headlines, the body copy, and the images and videos. And we're going to go through that in creative and what that specifically means. So when you're running profitable ads, your creative are the images and the videos you use to grab people's attention. So you only have about 3 seconds in order to grab people's attention. That's why when we create videos, it's so important that we capture the person's attention, because we only got 3 seconds to do that. So when we're creating video, a lot of people, what they'll do in the beginning of their video, they'll be like, hey, what's up, Instagram? Or hey, what's up? Like, like they'll do something like that. And it's like, well, cool. Like, what are you talking about on camera? So that's why whenever we start video, whenever we're using video, we want to start with whatever the hook is. Like, for example, are you a newlywed that is looking to get their first month mortgage on us? That's a hook, because you're calling out the actual target person in the video and you're giving them an offer right away. You want to, whenever you're creating video, both organic or with paid, you want to call out the person immediately, so they can be like, raise their hand and be like, oh, that's me, I'm a newlywed. Like, you want to be able to get the offer in front of them as quick as possible, not say, hey, what's up, Instagram, or hey, what's up, Facebook. Don't do that. People will not tune in. But the images and the videos need to grab people's attention. So when you're running ads, you want your creative to actually be sized to the platform. So what I mean by that is, if you're running an Instagram story ad, you want to occupy all the real estate. So that's generally why on Instagram stories, we record videos like this in vertical format. And like the same concept for an Instagram story ad needs to be for an Instagram feed. Like the feed is generally, the max you can do is they call it a 1320 by 1080. So you can go a little bit bigger than this here, the paper book appointment, but you want to make sure your images are actually sized properly for the platform when you're running ads. And you can look at that in the back of the ads manager. If there's one thing that I want to get across when it comes to an advertising perspective, is your video needs captions. 85% of all video online is watched without audio. Your video needs captions. There's free tools out there called Capwing, there's CapCut. You can hire a virtual assistant in order to cut your videos together. Whenever clients do run ads with us, we have in-house video editors that capture their videos, but your videos need captions, because 85% of videos are watched without audio, especially with ads. Your ads will fall on deaf ears if you don't have captions on your videos. And the last thing I want to see is you spend money and you get a video in front of somebody and they don't watch it because they don't click the sound on button. So 85% of videos watched without audio. Like I said, your creative needs to catch attention and it needs to stop the scroll. You have less than 3 seconds to capture somebody with attention. So this is an example of some like really engaging types of ads that get people to stop the scroll. But ultimately, the market is the market is the market, and the market will tell you what's working and what's not working when you test it. Your creative is 4 things. It's video, it's photography, it's headlines, it's body copy. That's really what it takes in order to create profitable ads. So like I said, I'm going to hand it over to Vikram in order to chat with us a little bit about conversion model. But once you have leads and once you've been able to generate leads through the profitable ads framework, understanding on a deep level what you can do. And everyone that's here on the replay, we have some training that we're going to give you at the end, some tactical step-by-step processes that we'll put on the replay page, both with Vikram and with my stuff. And like I said, there'll be a survey at the end of the session. But without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Vikram. He's going to talk to you a little bit about conversion, but I hope you get a ton of value out of profitable ads framework, and you're able to take this and literally sit down with your marketing person and think about how can we create ads that are actually profitable for our real estate business. So Vic, I will hand it over to you to let you do your thing and talk a little bit about how they create conversion for their business.
I'm so bummed because my sound is all gone, like I'm so bummed that all my sound is gone. But you guys, how awesome was that? Cody, can you see me right now?
Yes, sir.
Let's see what's going
You
on.
are rocking
Okay.
and rolling, my friend.
All right. This my computer just kicked me off. I'm using my Stream Deck here. All right. So real quick before we move on, what's one takeaway that you guys had? Just throw it in the chat. what's one takeaway that you guys had from Cody's Cody's portion on how to create more profitable ads, or he even gave us some ways to create more content. What are one or two things that you guys took away that you want to make actionable? Because if we don't write it down, it just kind of gets lost in the noise. So if you guys can throw that in the chat, that'd be great. And let's see if I can get my thing to work. You know, I was reading something on Facebook from a real estate coach, and they said, all you need to do is make more phone calls, make more effort. And if you do the work, you pick up the phone, you make your calls, you're relentless with your follow-up, you remind your sphere of influence and power circles, what you do on a consistent basis, you're going to win. And I can tell you that a lot of people I know do that all the time, and they don't get appointments. And the reason why is because of this thing called tonality. And Cody, let me see if I can pin myself here. All right. So there's this thing called tonality. And I know people always say, Vic, this is so basic, right? This is so basic. But if you're not converting leads, there's a reason why. And the reason why is because this tonality portion is off. And I coach lots of people, and I coach my own team. I have a sales team. And I'll tell you, when we're role playing, the tonality's off, and we've watched hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of training. And we listen to our calls, and most real estate agents never have listened to a single one of their calls. And guess what? 80% of the time, it's tonality. It's not necessarily the words that they use or the questions that they ask. Those do play a huge role. But the reason why most people get ghosted is because they're triggering sales resistance. So let's talk about tonality. So tonality has three components. One is your cadence, two is your verbal pauses, and three is, are you actually being conversational? When real estate agents get on the phone, they tend to talk slow or fast. Just throw it in the chat. What do you guys think? When you guys get on the phone, do you talk slow or do you talk a little too fast? Cody says fast because Cody cheats, and he's heard hundreds of realtors calls with me, and we've listened to a lot of calls together. But agents talk fast. And you guys know what happens when people talk fast, especially if your demographic's a little bit older. You're too smooth, you're too slick. What are you trying to sell me? And all of a sudden you lose people. The flip side of that, if you talk too slow to somebody who's a driver, what are they going to think you are, smart or dumb? Probably not the first one. So tone includes our cadence. Tonality also includes verbal pauses, right? When you guys get nervous, I've trained people that when they get nervous and they're trying to fill the space, their tone either goes up or it goes down. And it's just because that's how it's not they're smart or dumb, it's just how they talk. And when you talk to a prospect, it's slightly different than talking to a friend. But if we can learn to use verbal pauses, right? If we can learn to use right, it's very natural, and it becomes point number 3, which is conversational. Because I'm probably the only one guilty of this. Maybe Cody's had this, but I don't think anybody else has. But if you guys have, you can put a 1 in the chat. Have you ever got on a phone and you get to like your salesperson voice, or you get in front of a client and all of a sudden you turn like very salesy? And I'm pretty sure there's not a single real estate that I've ever spoke to in the history of real estate agents that said, Vic, I got into real estate so I could be super car salesy. Most real estate agents get into real estate and they're like, well, I don't want to be salesy and I don't want to do this. And that's why I don't like talking to prospects. That's why I only work with my sphere. It's not that. It's just most real estate agents actually don't know what to say to cause prospects to want to work with them. So there's 3 things that happen, right, when you don't know how to say things or when you don't know the right tone to say it. And the first thing is that when you use the wrong tone, it triggers your prospect, right? So have you guys ever got a call from somebody and they're super aggressive, or they're super slow, or they're super fast? You instantly are triggered. That's a sales call. What do you want? What are you selling me? And before the person can even get out like their typical crappy words, like, how you doing today? They're already being confronted by you, which puts them into confrontational selling. Now, again, I'm probably the only one here who's ever been confrontational, but let's say you're trying to book an appointment with the buyer and the buyer is like, we're just going to wait because interest rates are high. And we think, we just think the interest rates are going to come back down to 3%. And you're like, no, you idiot. That's what your mind says. And when you talk to the prospect, you're like, well, we really need to sit down because I don't think the market's going to change it. Blah, 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 blah. And this is better for you. And guess what? Instead of talking to the prospect and being conversational, you've now become confrontational. And when you become confrontational with a prospect, I promise you one thing's going to happen. They're not going to show to your appointment, but they're going to do whatever it takes to get you off the phone. So that means they're going to book an appointment with you, or they're not going to show, or they're just going to hang up on you. Because again, I'm the only person I'm sure who's ever been hung up on. Cody, have you ever been hung up on by anybody?
Once or twice.
Oh man, we should practice more. And the third thing that happens is that triggers prospects is you're saying the wrong things, right? If anybody's ever taken a prospect call or a follow-up call, this is my favorite one. This is the standard one that I hear from real estate agents. Ring, ring. Hey, Kim, it's just, it's Vikram. And I'm just calling because, a note popped up in my CRM and you remember you told me to call you back in 90 days so that we could go start looking at houses. I'm just using your name, Kim. I'm sure you don't do that. And the prospect's like, oh yeah, we're not in a rush to buy anything. Or they're like, we're not interested. Or they're going to say something like, oh, call me back, or I'm busy right now. And then all of a sudden you call them back a week later and your phone number's been blocked. And you're like, what the heck? I thought you told me to call you back. I thought you loved me. I thought we were best friends. I asked about your dog. I asked about your cat. I asked about your child. Remember at the birthday party? Oh my God, you said you had so much fun in Hawaii. And I know you guys would never do this, right? So I'm just talking to myself. I really just do these webinars for myself just to train myself better because I know you guys don't do this, right? But when we have the wrong tone, when we become confrontational and when we say the wrong things, it triggers the prospect to have resistance. It puts their guards up, right? And we all know that the point of what we're doing is to help people, but you've been lied to. You've been lied to by every single guru on stage that says, well, you need to have them like you. They need to like you. No, they need to trust you. If they don't trust you right out the gate, they're not going to like you. They're not going to build rapport and you're not going to have influence, right? So number one is always trust. Two, we then get into rapport. And then three, we now have influence, right? So I just want you guys to write this down. Just write down TRIM, trust, rapport, influence, method. This is the modern way of selling. All right. This is how we sell in today's day and age, where prospects have this website called Google, and now they have this other website called ChatGPT, and they have access to everything. They know everything that we do. There is no reason for them to call you to look at properties like they used to do because they don't need you. They have Zillow, they have Realtor, they have this site, they have that site, they have your website. They don't need to call you. The reason they call you is because they trust you and you then build rapport. So you guys have been lied to. I know it sucks, but using these questions right here, right? You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. I have taken thousands of buyer and seller calls. All right. And I will tell you, we don't ask about their day. We don't ask about their family. We don't ask about their bar mitzvahs. We don't ask about their Diwali festivals. We don't talk about any of that. We talk about what their needs are, their wants are. And then once we get into rapport with them, we can learn about them and they can learn about us. We don't say, oh my God, we've helped millions of people sell hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate. We don't say that because you don't need to say that if you know how to ask questions and you say it in the right way. So there's three things that Sharon always talks about. And Sharon always says, Vic, if you don't provide safety for people, they're not going to want to use you. If you don't validate their concerns, they're not going to want to use you. And if you can't create confidence with them, they're not going to want to use you. And I've been blessed to know Sharon for over a decade when he was over at Telus Properties. And it's always been the same. People need to feel safe. They need to have validation and they need to be confident. And the confidence comes through your process, right? What's your sales process? What's your follow-up process? Do you have one, right? And if you don't, it's cool, but you should build one. Just like Cody has a process for running ads, which is why I will never run ads because I don't have a process and I don't want to figure out how to create a hook and a 10 by 30 DDP as HDMI cable. I don't want to learn that crap. I just want to press record and be like, here you go, Cody. Here's the Slack message. Tell me when it's up. And he's like, got you, bro. So here's why people don't learn how to do things. One is because it takes a lot of time. Two, you actually have to practice and rehearse. And three, people I just don't think really want to make more sales. No, I'm kidding. Everybody wants this part, right? But nobody wants to put in the time and the effort. Nobody wants to record themselves, right? Nobody wants to block out time. If you guys talk to my team, the first 2 hours of this morning, we made 2 minor adjustments to the script. 2 minor adjustments to the script from my coach's recommendations. They spent 2 hours role playing this morning. I'm like, are you guys going to get on the phones at all today? Like, I mean, we're not paid to talk to each other. Like, you're not buying from each other. Like, they're like, well, Vic, we made some changes to the script and you gave us some feedback, They spent 2 hours this morning role playing, right? So you got to block the time to learn. You got to block the time to practice, right? You might need to buy some tools or some systems, right? Or you could just get your phone out that's always on you and you could just record yourself. Even if you don't know what the prospect's saying, if you hear yourself enough times, you'd be like, oh yeah, that triggered resistance. So there's a couple of tones that I believe are really important that you guys should learn. And there's a lot of tones out there, but these are, in my opinion, the most important. One is the curiosity tone. So tell me, what was it about the ad at 123 Banana Street that caused you to want to reach out to me today? Right? The curiosity tone. The second one is scarcity. Right now, scarcity can be used with your tone. You could drop it like, there's information scarcity, as Jordan Belfort says. And then there's product scarcity. Like, hey, there's only, if you guys sell new construction or if it's an investment property, or if you guys think that, if you guys have sellers and you think the market's going to crash, like, hey, this might be the last spring we have before the market really crashes. Are you sure you don't want to think about selling now? Right? Scarcity. Or you guys have some special information like, hey, there's only one house left with 5 bedrooms and a main floor bathroom bedroom combo. Did you maybe want to come possibly take a look at it? You guys notice some neutral words in there, some pauses, some neutral words possibly might want to take a look at it, right? Very low key. Hey, we got one house left. We got no problem selling it. There's a lot of buyers. There's one house. Do you want it or not? The skeptical tone, right? There's a skeptical tone, there's an assertive tone, and there's an empathetic tone. So the skeptical tone is what you're going to use when somebody says something that you just kind of disagree with, but you can't call them dumb. Oh, so yeah, so you're talking to a buyer, let's say, and the buyer says they're going to wait for rates to come down. Oh, you're going to wait for rates to come down, right? And then you can ask a follow-up question to probe them a little bit. The assertive tone would be like the downswing, right? That's the downswing. And if you got a really deep voice, you want to be careful with your downswings. But the assertive tone is, absolute confidence, right? You are confident about whatever you are talking about with them. I would use the assertive tone probably like, I don't use it as much as I used to when I first got into sales, but I would use it like when you're talking about something that is, you're just 100% confident. It's like, hey, we know that this house is going to sell very quickly. Like, we've had 75 showings on it. And you guys, there are still markets which have crazy showings, right? So it's not all markets, but there are some markets and there are price points in markets. So you're very assertive with your buyer or your seller just to relay the information. We also remember, guys, we have to keep our conversation. Do we want to talk fast or slow with people? Do we want to talk fast or slow with people? Just throw it in the chat. When you guys are talking with prospects, I know I'm talking super fast right now because I've probably gone over by 3 minutes already. But when you guys are talking with prospects, we want to slow things down. It allows us time to think. We want to use pauses and ums and ohs. It allows us time to think. It allows them to feel comfortable and conversational, right? And it allows you to actually convert more appointments or more people into clients. The last one is the empathetic tone, right? And this is like something happened, you lean in, right? And your voice typically drops, you slow down naturally, right? So if somebody says, hey, my dog, we got to put our dog down. You're not gonna be like, oh my God, that's so exciting. You're like, oh, I'm really, I don't even know what to say. That's what I would say. Because when somebody tells me something like that, I have no idea what to say. The last thing is that you guys can use questions as statements. So instead of making a statement like the interest rates are never going to come back down, just be like, I'm curious, why do you think interest rates are going to come back down? I'm curious, right? Why do you think that now's not a good time to sell versus waiting until next year, right? We're in an uncertain market. We don't really know what's going to happen. So learning to ask those questions would be really important. Cody, what am I doing on time here?
You're good, man. We have time.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So real quick, and you guys, Cody made himself available for us to do a little Q&A. So if you guys have Q&A, throw it in the chat now so we can chat about it afterwards, because Cody's a lot busier than I am. I
wouldn't go that far.
I just ride my bike all the time.
Yeah, we got time. I would love to go through these frames with you and just kind of jam
Let's
about
do
it.
it.
As we go through the
Yeah.
frames, if you want access to the frames, just fill out I'm going to throw a quick survey in the comment section below on Facebook. And I'm also going to throw the survey in the chat here if you're live on Zoom with us. Fill out that quick survey. Tells us how we did. Like I said, we had nothing to sell you today. Just want to provide some value. I would love to jam with you on this because like I know that we both listened to thousands of calls over the last couple of years, and I've been going ham on listening to calls recently, and you and I had an interesting conversation last night about tonality and asking the right questions. So let's go through these reactivation frameworks. I would love for us to provide some value here.
So you guys, these are three reactivation frameworks. Here's what I'll tell you. If you have a prospect that says they're 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months out, I would tell you that you should meet with them. I would tell you that you should meet with every single person because you were 10x more likely, right? This is Sharon and I were talking about. He says, Vic, I know why you won. I said, why? He said, you never miss an opportunity to sit down belly to belly with somebody. Even if they said they were 5 years out. You guys, I took a listing from a lady I met at the bank a year ago for $1.7 million because we met for the first time and we stayed belly to belly on Facebook. And you were 10x more likely to secure a client long-term if you sit down with them and you provide them value at the beginning. So we talk a lot about how to book appointments because that seems to be the number one challenge that real estate agents across the board are having is how do we get more appointments? How do we get more appointments? And sometimes it's a leads issue and sometimes it's a conversion issue. It's probably a little bit of both. And so this framework right here, right? This framework right here is called the playbook frame. So there's a little bit of stuff like when you guys call people, here's an intro. Cody said we have some time. So I'm going to give you guys an intro that you should always use. And Cody uses this in his call center and they make thousands of calls a day. And it's like game changer. So when you guys call somebody, right, instead of saying, hi, is this Susan? Oh, hey, Susan. And you have nothing to say. And they're like, oh my God, what do you want? It's a telemarketer. They're already pissed off. Ring, ring. Hi, Cody. Cody May. So Cody would be like, yeah, right. When you say somebody, hi, Cody, or hey, Cody, or yo, Cody, like whatever you're comfortable with. But this is a little bit more generic. My team, we say hey or yo, because we're just your friend. Yo, what's up? So it'd be like, hey, Cody. And you'll say, yeah, Cody May, first name, last name. right? And it's a little bit of an upswing, right? Because it's a little bit of a question. And he's like, yeah, who's this? 98% of the time they're going to say, yeah, who's this? It's almost as guaranteed as birth control. All right. And then I'm going to like, awesome. Hey, this is just Vikram Deol with Real Brokers. The reason I'm calling today is, we spoke a while ago and I was curious, has anyone recently educated you on the top 3 reasons you should buy or sell in today's changing market? Or I would say, have you already bought a home? Or are you still looking? I'd probably say, have you bought a home? Are you still looking? Because the market has slowed down a little bit. So I would say the reason I'm calling today is because I know when we spoke a while ago, you're curious about homes at the Clyde Hill area. I was wondering, are you still looking or have you already bought a home?
So what Vikram is doing there, I just want to throw out something really important, is he's making it really easy for the prospect to answer the question. I think one of the mistakes that a lot of salespeople make, or a lot of real estate agents make, is they ask open-ended questions, and it makes it really difficult for the actual prospect to answer. So he's asking what we call a sorting question. So what he's saying there is like, have you already bought a home or are you still looking? He's giving them, he's directing the conversation in order to get them to the next part. I just wanted to break apart what you did there, because I think that it's really important. If you can speak in sorting questions, it will make it easier for the prospect to answer you. So when we train our inside sales agents, we get them to ask them sorting based questions. We do this in text messages too. So if you're running ads, you could send a text message saying, hey, like, if we were to get you access to homes, would you be looking for a big backyard? Would a big backyard be more important, or a remodeled kitchen? We don't really, like, at the end of the day, it's like they might want both, and they might tell you both, but you're asking questions in what we call sorting questions.
And here's the thing. If they say they bought something, great, right? Like now, at least you don't have to call these people up anymore, and you can put them into a different bucket. If they say they haven't bought anything, now it gives you an opportunity to start having better conversations. So the playbook,
asking, are you thinking of making a move in the next 3 to 6 months, is an open ended question. Yeah, I would break it apart. Are you thinking of moving in 6 months, or are you thinking about moving in the next 12 to 18 months? That's more of a sorting question.
So, and the way that I would actually do that, I would place that very carefully in there, but I would say, I'd use the Sharon framework that we created, which is, hey, is this like a Q? So what, we're in Q2 now. So is this like a Q3, or is this more of like a Q4 project?
Yeah.
And if you hear it's just, hey, I was just curious, is this more like a Q3 project or more like a Q4 project? Or you could be like, hey, is this like a Q3 project or like a 2024 project?
Yeah. Is this a spring project or is this a fall project? For people that don't understand, like if you're speaking to a prospect that doesn't understand Q2, Q1. So
cool. But yeah, I wouldn't ask 3 or 6 months, because that is a very salesy question, and that will trigger your response to be
you're gonna get a ton of trigger response there. Like, the whole idea, like I've listened to thousands of calls. I went on a rampage last week. I think I listened to close to 100 calls last week from our clients. And there, there's a common trend that I see. And we're going to get into the playbook frame, because I love this, the top 3 things you need to consider in order to win in the market when you are ready to buy. The framing of the questions is so important, and you don't want your questions to trigger sales resistance, because you want to educate. So what I like, kind of the mindset shift, and something Vic and I have been chatting a lot recently with the clients we're working with, is like, I would encourage you to remove the word lead and prospect from your language and reprogram your mind towards, this is a future client. The way that you speak to a future client is like, just mentally is going to be different than the way you speak to a lead and a prospect. You're just going to speak to them more with less sales resistance. So that's something I've been saying to all of our business developers on our team, where it's like, these are not leads and prospects. They are future clients. So just as we get into this playbook frame, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, because it's something I'm super passionate about right now.
So, so let's jump into the playbook frame. So this isn't going to be like right at the top, but this is when you're talking to a buyer, or, we'll just use buyers here. Mrs. Jones, has anybody taken the time to walk you through the three most important things about buying a home in today's market? Right. So if you're getting a prospect that's like, oh, we're not interested in meeting with you, and they're just kind of pushing back on you, this is an easy one. And I use this like in our when I was selling real estate, we use this every time, because nobody's ever educated their buyer. Like maybe 5% of the market has actually been educated. And normally what buyer agents do is they get the person says, hey, I want to see 123 Banana Street. They go show them the house, and they never actually educate them on the process. And that's
So
why
Vic,
buyers.
can we go through really quickly? Because the question I get asked from a lot of our agents is like, well, that's
Let's just
great.
role play it.
What are the three things? What are the three most important things towards buying and
Sure.
selling real estate? Yeah.
Sure. So, like we'll just create like a couple for you guys to use, right? So the three most important things about buying a home in today's market, like when you guys think about it, right? And before we just give you guys an answer, like what are the three most important things or what are some things that you guys think would be important for a buyer to know in today's market? Just put in the chat. Like, what are some of the things that you guys think are important for a buyer to know in today's market? What is they should probably know, like contract to close, right? That's a process. So once you get the home under contract, there's a contract to close process. I would say that 97, 98%, like the only people who ask what are the three most important things are super analytical people. The fact that you say that you know the three most important things creates a ton of safety and confidence in your process that most prospects aren't going to say anything. But one of the things that you guys could talk about is like, oh, are you aware of the contract to close process? And they're like, what's that? Oh, well, that's where most deals actually fall apart. And they're like, oh, well, don't worry, no problem. We'll discuss it. The second thing you guys could talk about is, are you aware of the financing processes? And they'd be like, well, we talked to our banker. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Right? Skeptical tone. Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. I'll show you a couple of other options that are available in today's market. Right? What's the third one? I gave you guys two. You guys got to give me one. So we talked about financing. So we talked about financing. We talked about contract to close. Contract to close includes like inspections and financings and addendums and all that. But has anybody actually sat down with you and talked to you about the offer process? Right? Like those are three simple ones that people genuinely have heard about, but they don't actually understand what they mean. And so when you talk to them about these things and you use real estate specific terms, like if I were to talk to Fiona and I'm like, oh, hey, blah, 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 she would understand, oh, there's an inspection, right? There's a financing addendum. There's a, lead-based paint addendum, right? We would understand that, but they don't know what that means, right? They've never seen a real estate contract. Well, a lot of agents haven't seen a real estate contract either, but I assume you guys have. They don't know the wording. They don't know the language. One of the reasons why we won so many deals is because we analyzed the contract and we figured out there was a lot of lines we could cross out that made it better for the seller when we were in the competitive market of Seattle. So, Mrs. Jones, has anyone taken the time to walk you through the three most important things about buying a home in today's market? That was obviously not done in tonality with pauses or anything of that nature, but just wanted to read it through it. They're going to say no. And you're gonna be like, yeah, I didn't think so. Well, what I love to do is educate my clients so that they can make the best decision possible, even if that means you wait. And we say that in this market with those buyers who say, well, we're not in a rush. We just want to wait. Call us back in 9 months. Call us back 3 years later, blah, blah, blah. Right. So that's a line that we would use for that specific instance. And then you would say something like, so why don't we meet for a quick cup of coffee? And before the drink is cold, I'll share with you the three most important things that I tell all my top clients about buying a home in today's market. And one of my clients, Kuval, he brand new agent, first year in, he used this with a super tough client. that client went off and bought a $1.4 million house with them. He's in LA, so obviously prices are a little bit higher. But you guys, 3 tips on the bottom. You can discuss like interest rates, best way to get the best rate, the economy, buyers are getting seller concessions, great deals, market has more inventory, market's less competitive, right? You could talk about contract to close process. So, we already gave you a couple of freebies down here. So Cody, anything you want to add on that?
No, man, like this is amazing. Like I said, this playbook frame is something that we use with all of our agents. Like it's something that like we train them on. I know it's something that you go deeper with them on tonality and how to actually get more deals under contract. Like, the back end, like we really work on the front end side. So I hear a lot of the initial appointment setting. You hear a lot of the contract to close conversations as well as the appointment setting. But like that framework, like 100% of the time, like the big thing that I say to all of our top performing clients, and the biggest thing I've realized with a lot of our top performing clients around the playbook frame, is that the teams that are doing this really well are performing at a really high level because they're educating the market and they're getting to that prospect before they're even actively searching.
Yep.
And then if you just give them the right information, and the reason that this is so important, 3 most important things, is because you're like, I've been saying this for a while, you're battling the media. Media is giving people shitty information. CNN, Fox, that's where they're getting a lot of their housing knowledge. Or Uncle Fred is telling them they need 20% down. Uncle Fred is giving them shitty information, or their, other friends and family are giving them bad information. So you're combating bad information, and there are people that are sitting on the sidelines just because they don't have the right information. So we encourage all of our clients, like if you like, your business would drastically change if you sat down with 5 to 10 buyers a week. It would drastically change. And there's an easy way to do this, and it's the playbook frame. So you need to have more belly to belly conversations. You need to date more people, essentially, is what
oh my God, Cody, you can't be dating multiple people. What's wrong with you?
You need to date more people. So
we'll go through there's the baseline frame. I'll just show you guys how to use it real quick. We don't necessarily have time. I have an appointment that I got to jump off to, and it's already 11:30. So you guys, this is for the buyer who's like, I just want to see that house. You're basically at a stalemate. You're going to use this with Mrs. Jones and say, hey, I know you were interested in 123 Banana Street, and a bunch of areas. Why don't we just go see the kickoff house? Right. And then you're going to plan some time to see the house and to plan a little bit of time afterwards to just chat. And it's just to get them into action. Right. So just plan to meet with me for a few minutes extra after the appointment so that we can create our game plan based off of the home we view together. Great. Really excited to meet you and see some awesome properties. Right. So this is for the buyer that's like, I don't want to meet. Just send me stuff. Right. You've already used all the rebuttals. Well, I'd love to send you some stuff, but do you actually even know what you're looking for? They're like, yeah, we're just looking for the great deal. You would use this one, right? You'd use the kickoff house because you need a baseline, right? So that's how you can think of it. It's your baseline. And then the last one is the Grandma framework. This is courtesy of my good buddy, Grant, from DC. He's a killer. And you basically are going to say, hey, can I tell you the exact things I tell my top clients, and then share the 3 strategies I share with them. Strategy number 1 is get pre-qualified, right? And you can start to do a pre-approved buyer's tour. Strategy number 2 is we meet for 15 minutes so we can discuss the top 3 things. The third one is you could pick the kickoff house, and that's where I picked the best house on the market based off the criteria you told me. We meet there, and then we create a game plan afterwards. So which one are you guys leaning towards? You guys would be shocked at how many people say number 2. You guys would be shocked when you use the Grandma framework, which is basically you give them 3 options and you let them choose. You'd be shocked at how many people are like, well, maybe it would make sense for us to meet for a few minutes to actually figure out what we're really looking for before we start looking at homes. That's all I got, you guys. We really appreciate your time. Cody, did you put the thing in the thing so that they can get the things?
I threw it in the chat below. I threw it on Facebook as well. I just want to say thank you, everyone. If you're listening back on the replay, if you're on live, if you hopped into Zoom with us, I want to say thank you to the bottom of my heart. Hope you got a ton of value today. We look forward to connecting with you soon, and I hope you're able to take some of these frames and able to get more deals under contract. We will see you all soon. And thanks again, Vic. We really appreciate it. See you guys.
Buddy. Bye.